Okay, so for the base, I actually started recording this last night, had an issue with my camera again. I have since gone through and like updated everything I could possibly update on the computer. But unfortunately, I got the entire base for the book constructed before I realized it had actually quit recording 2 minutes in. So we're going to briefly kind of go over the basic construction of how we did this. I'll give you the measurements and everything, but this is the one I'm actually going to use because this is the good artisan cardstock and the heavier chipboard. For our recreation, I'm just using some lightweight chipboard that I found a whole giant pile of in going through some stuff in the basement the other day, and less than good cardstock. So for the front and back cover, you need chipboard that is 6 1/4 by 6 1/4. You're going to mat that with cardstock that is 8 1/4 by 8 1/4. So I've already wrapped this first piece. We'll go ahead and do this side together. You want to cover the entire back of this with score tape. I haven't tried gluing one of these. I'm sure you could do that as well, but not something I've tried, so I don't necessarily want to say, hey, yeah, go ahead and glue it. So you're going to use your scoreboard to line this up. So you're going to put your paper all the way into the far corner. And then I have 2 little 1-inch templates to get my border to line this up just perfectly. All you're going to do is come in here and set that down on top. For the spine, 6 1/4 by 2 1/2. The cardstock to mat that is going to be 4 1/2 by 8 1/4. You're going to do the same thing to line this up on here. However, we will wrap this one slightly different, so I'm going to set that to the side. Okay, so to wrap the chipboard, you've got your chipboard centered on your cardstock. You're just going to use this. You're going to fold it over. Come in here and burnish that down with your bone folder. Fold over this way. Same thing again. You're going to burnish those corners down. You're going to open this up, and then you're going to do the other side. Okay, so now you should have good crease lines in all 4 corners, and all you're going to do is you're going to cut on that fold line and remove that square in each corner. Okay, so this is what you have now. The next thing we're going to do, we're going to fold this in, and we're going to look to make sure nothing's hanging over when we fold this down. If it is, all you're going to do is use your chipboard as a guide, set your scissors right on the edge of that chipboard, get to that corner, pivot out ever so slightly, and trim. I was not in the right place. There we go. You're going to do this on all of your corners. Okay, and then turn it and do the same thing on this side. Okay, then all we're going to do is come in here with our glue. We're going to run some glue along the side here. Fold it over and burnish it down. The same thing on the other side. And burnish it down. And then the other. All right. For the spine, we're going to go ahead and fold and get our creases again, just like we did before. So top and bottom, and then both sides. Open that up. Okay. On the spine, however, instead of cutting out this square, we're going to cut off the corner. So you're going to go from score line to score line and just trim that triangle off. Because this piece we are not wrapping the sides in, we're only going to wrap the top and bottom and leave these flaps out here to attach the cover pieces to the spine. So again, we're just going to come in here with the glue. Get that burnished down. And again on the other side. Okay. All right, so what we're going to do now is we need to just angle these corners ever so slightly. So again, you're going to use your chipboard as your guide. And you're going to just trim. Okay? And then we're going to burnish. Really work that down. Because what we're going to do next is we're going to glue our cover to our spine. Okay? So we're going to put glue all the way across there. You're going to line this up, top and bottom, and glue it down. And I'm going to do the other side at the same time. Normally I would flip this over and burnish it before doing the other side, but I did actually do it this way last night and it worked just fine. So make sure everything's lined up. Flip it over, we're going to burnish it down on this side. And then we're going to close it. Burnish it again. And then one more time on this side. And then there is your cover. Now we're going to cover the inside of the cover. And my piece is not quite right. What did I do? I may have put the, I put the adhesive on the wrong one. Okay, so this should be 6 1/8 high by 6 inches wide, just because we do have a little bit wider spine. This one's a little bit small, but that's okay because I don't want to cut it again because it really, I'm not actually going to use this base. We're going to use the one I did last night, so it's okay. And again, you're going to cover the back of this with score tape because you want it to adhere down really well, because this is what's going to reinforce our book. And like I said, this one is size drawn. Yours should be 6 1/8 by 6 inches. Okay, so we've got that down. We're just going to bend again, making sure everything bends correctly. Again, and there you go. There's your base. Okay, for the spine, which I'm going to now fix. Sorry, not the spine. The hinge. All right, so for our hinge, we need a piece that is and 5 7/8 high, 5 1/2 wide. So with the 5 1/2 inch side at the top of your scoreboard, you're going to score every 1/2 inch. Okay. All right, then I've got to stop this and like turn off the autofocus because this is driving me crazy. I'll be right back. Okay, so I've got the silly autofocus turned off. I don't know why it keeps turning back on, and I normally catch it, so I apologize. Okay, so the spine is going to be 5 7/8 high, 5 1/2 wide. You're going to score with the 5 1/2 side at the top of the board every 1/2 inch. And then it's just the normal, not spine, hinge. Normal hinge construction. So you're going to go hinge, gusset, hinge, and I did glue this on the actual album just to see if I can get it to lay a little bit more flat. I think I remember seeing somewhere that you can get your pages to lay a little bit more flat if you end up, if you glue your hinge instead of using score tape on it. So we're going to give it a try. We'll see how it goes. Okay, so then all you're going to do, you have your 4-page hinge, you're going to glue it into your book, just center it up in there and glue it in, and this is what we end up with. So, back to where I left off last night when I realized it was not recording. Got our base constructed, we've got our hinge in place. We do have 2 pockets that are going to go on the inside. Our pockets measure 7 by 4. You're going to squirt 1/2 inch on each end on the 7-inch side, and on one side of the 4-inch side. I'm going to go ahead and get these prepped ready to go. So we're going to trim out that bottom piece, or I'm sorry, the corners, so that when we fold this all over and put it down, it lays flat. Okay, and since I'm going to mat this before I put these down, I'm actually just going to set these back to the side. So let's look at our page bases. So for the page bases, you need 4 pieces, 6 by 6, and 4 pieces that are 6 by 7. The 6 by 7 pieces, you're going to put the 7-inch side at the top of your scoreboard and score it 1/2 inch, turn it 180 degrees, and score it 1/2 inch again. So it's just on those 2 ends. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and fold our sides in and burnish these down. And then we're going to attach our hands. And I'm going to do this a little bit differently. I actually was watching the retreat video for the Vermont retreat for Country Craft Creations the other day. And this was how Tammy, I believe, was putting her pages on her hinge. So the hinge was already in the book. So we're going to glue on here. We're going to line this up. We're going to lay it down and just center it up on here. And then she was gluing these tabs down. So we're going to glue those down. And then she was taking her top piece, making sure everything lined up okay, and then gluing this one down as well. So that's how we're going to try this today. We're going to see if it works. If you don't want to experiment here, I completely understand. In which case, I would go ahead and assemble the pages. I'll show you kind of what I'm talking about here in just a second. But for now, line this up at the top and the bottom. And that just went on there beautifully. That is a good idea. I like it. Haha. If you didn't want to try it this way, all you would do is go ahead and fold these over. What I typically would do is attach one side only and then slip it down on my hinge, glue it down, and then glue the other side over here. But I think we're going to just keep going with this because this seems to work really, really nicely. I like it. Okay. All right. So we're going to glue over here. I'm going to slide this down on. And fold it all the way over. Make sure it's even with the page before. And then we're going to burnish this down. Make sure that one's stuck. Going to get our corners here. Burnish this one more time. And the way I think I saw her do that is she actually had a tab like this on the top as well that was folded over, but that didn't leave room for inserts. And because we're doing this as a Disney book intended to be able to be used as an autograph book, we do want to have an opening down here for inserts that we're going to make here in a minute, and I'll show you. And I need to get it out of the closet. I think I know where it is. When it comes to our inserts and using this as an autograph book, I've made a number of autograph books over the years. I've made a couple for my son. I've made several for friends, children, over the years, and they've all kind of evolved over the years. Most of them I've used the Cricut on. I have not. This will be the first one I've done where I'm not, using the Cricut to either make it shaped. I've done them so that they are shaped, Mickey Mouse shaped. I don't know if I've got one of those on hand. Oh, yes, I do. My son's first one was like that. So I'll grab those here in a minute and I can kind of show you, like when we get more close to decorating, I'll show you what I'm talking about so that you'll understand why we're going to do what we're doing with the autograph blocks being on the inserts as opposed to attached inside the book. It will make a lot more sense when I show you what we ended up doing the last time that I did one for him, which the last trip we went on I didn't do one and I felt kind of bad, but we just had so much going on I did not have time to make him a book. And then we were at Disneyland and didn't see as many characters, so it ended up being okay, but I still kind of feel bad. So the next time we go, I'm sure I'll end up doing another book for him, because they are really fun. And it won't be this one because we're not going to Christmas this year. I think my glue dried on me before I got that burnished down. There we go. We're going to burnish these one more time. We give that a minute to dry. We're going to dry fit our page, make sure it lines up right. We're all good there. Get it on our tab. And then we're just going to line this up. Burnish it down. All right, we got one more to go. I think I'm really kind of liking this method because it does seem to go, honestly, I think it's going a little bit faster than normal. And I don't feel like I'm fighting with it as much as I do typically when I'm doing these. And look how flat these pages are laying. I mean, the book already lays flat, but look how flat these pages are laying. This is kind of amazing, actually. Okay. All right, I like this. This works really well. Okay. Get those two. I'm going to hold it with one hand. Burnish this with the other. Dry fit to make sure a page lines up right. It does. And then we're going to just glue. Let's not get that on the inside there. Right. I'll line that up again at the top. Push down at the bottom. And look how flat those pages sit. That's awesome. I love it. Okay, so burnish this down. Give it just a minute to dry. Okay, so for our interior pages, I am actually going to score one of these with you. We are going to have flaps that are going to go on each page. This is going to do a couple of things. This is going to allow you, if you wanted to give the entire book to a character to sign, you could. If not, this is going to give you lots of places to put pictures. So we need 8 pieces that are, let's see here, 5 7/8 high by 11 3/4 long. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to score all of these. You're going to score it 5 7/8. I saw this done on a video by, oh, I can't remember her name, Melissa Merritt. Anyway, what you end up with is you have one side is shorter than the other, because what's going to happen, okay, my computer's acting funny again, and I hope it didn't just lose all that again. I don't know, maybe we're okay. All right, hopefully we're okay. All right, so it's up to you if you want your flaps going this way or if you want them from the end. I think I'm going to alternate. So all I'm going to do is get some glue. You could use score tape on this. I am not going to. And I'm going to line this up out here at the edge of my page. Kind of center it top to bottom because it is slightly smaller than the page, which is fine. We kind of want that so that we don't have it hanging off one side or the other. And then look how pretty that opens. I love it. And of course I didn't let the glue dry long enough because I get impatient. Which, to be honest, is why I usually use score tape. Okay. And I think what I'm going to do, because I am gluing, I think I'm going to clip that there. I'm going to go to the next one. Okay, so make sure when you fold these, see how I've got that 1/4 inch difference there? Make sure when you go to put these down that smaller difference is to the back. Okay? So again, I'm going to go on this end. I'm going to put that down. And I do have several more of these, so I'm going to go ahead and clip this one as well. I'm going to go to the next one. Making sure that my short side is to the back. I'm going to put glue between the squirrel. Okay, so I have most of the book matted. We're just going to do a couple things. I did go ahead and put the pockets down front and back just because it dawned on me that when I'm matting them, I'm going to cut that where it's going to slip down inside anyway, so just put them down. But this is what happens when I work late at night. So yeah, I have matted and decorated all the inside pages, except this very first one. We'll do that one together. The matting for this is 5 7/8 by, I think this one was 3 3/8, and then 5 7/8 by 3 inches for the top there. And of course I'm having a glue issue. There we go, maybe. There we go. And I did keep the decorating for the most part very, very simple, simply because, you know, my intention with this is that it's really more of an autograph book that you would take, you know, and get character autographs. So you're not going to want a whole lot of decoration, as opposed to, you know, if you were doing this with, you know, just simply to put pictures in, which you could do it that way and, you know, decorate as you see fit, but that is not my intention here. So for the first flap, these are 5 3/4 by 5 3/4 on front and back. I did end up putting some magnets in here just to help hold the pages closed. You know, the cardstock on them was almost enough, but I felt like it wasn't quite enough. So the magnets are completely optional. If you think when you get yours assembled and you start matting that everything's laying flat enough, then by all means skip the magnets. So I was putting the magnet, and I just did that completely wrong because, oh, well, no, I guess I can't do it this way because it needs to go on this back page. All right. Anyway, as I was saying, you know, if you decide you don't need the magnets, then by all means skip them. I just felt like it needed something a little bit to kind of hold things a little bit flatter, even though these pages in the book overall really do lay fairly flat. Literally the only thing pulling these up right now is the weight of the pages. So, you know, it's up to you. For this second flap, these are 5 3/4 high by 5 1/2 wide, because they are just a little bit smaller because of the way we scored and attached these. And that would be on both sides there. And two, I left the decorating to a minimum on a lot of this just because this paper is so stinking cute. I just couldn't stand it. Oops, let's get that turned the right way. That would help. And I am matting these so that there's just a very tiny, like 1/16 of an inch border. Of course, it's up to you. And for this back page on the page base, it is 5 3/4 by, I have 5 3/4, but I think that's, no, that's right. Yeah, 5 3/4 by 5 3/4. You could go 5 3/4 by 5 5/8, and that actually works okay too. And I think I might have actually done that on a couple of other pages, but it's okay. All right. So all I'm going to put on this front page is one of my stickers. And what I have done with all of my stickers is I'm just using my little powder thing to get some of that sticky off so that they're really only stuck across the bottom, so you can get a photo up underneath there. We need to decorate the front of these two pockets, and I'm not sure where I have now put my camera. There it is. And really, it's, you know, like I said, it's up to you. I still may go through and put some more little ephemera pieces and stuff on these inside pages. I'll add some ephemera here. The tags, all I did with the tags is I matted those with solid cardstock because the intention is, like I said, because it is an autograph book, is you could do it the way we did this a couple of years ago with my son. So what I did, instead of building him an entire book, which I had done his first trip, and we did take it around and give it to the characters to sign, what I did the second time is I made little signature blocks that we took around. I did do these with the Cricut. I can't even tell you how many hours it took to do these because it took forever, especially like the Pixar characters. Oh my God. It was absolutely insane. But, you know, we got pretty much, you know, with the exception of Mike and Sully, just because they don't do autographs, of course, you know, we got everybody that I made a page for, which was awesome. And my intention with these, and obviously I haven't gotten to this yet, was to be able to, you know, make a 12 by 12 layout with this and be able to put, you know, the signature block on here along with a matted picture of him with the character. And, you know, this was before we moved back to Utah, so almost 4 years ago. Obviously I haven't done it yet, but that was my intention. And all we did when we took those signature blocks, I had just a little tiny cutting board from Dollar Tree with some rubber bands on it that I would just slip the signature block under the rubber bands and give it to the character with a big Sharpie, which makes it really easy for them to sign because, you know, they're in those gloves and it can be very difficult for them to sign. So you don't want to give them anything too tiny, which is why we had done it, you know, that way. And that would be my intention with this, is I would put this on, you know, that little Dollar Tree cutting board, wherever it ended up, with some rubber bands, give them a big Sharpie and let them sign. And then you can come back and these will just slide in here. You could have more than one character sign on one of these. You could have a character sign here, put the corresponding picture on the back. You could give them the entire book like this, but in that case, I would probably do like a clipboard or something, just so that they're not trying to hold, you know, this book. Even though this is a good size, it's not too small, it's not too big, it would be easy for them to hold and, you know, and then do their signature on here. But that's why I've left the front of each of these pages with just the solid cardstock and very minimal decoration, so you could use these as signature pages as well. You could also, and I may or may not do this, I'm not sure, you know, you've got the pockets here. You could just mat extra pictures and stick them in here. You could make yourself some more of the signature blocks and put them in just the pockets here, and that would be really cute too. The inserts are 5.5 by 5 3/4, and then just matted at 5 3/8. Yep, 5 3/8 by 5 5/8. And then I just took the little tab stickers from the sticker sheet and had to actually steal one from my second collection of this that I actually had already purchased before I got my design team package, just so I had enough of those. And that just, you know, they're there, you can pull them out, it makes it really easy. But yeah, so I just kept the decorations, like I said, to a minimum. You know, I did do a little bit more here, didn't do much here, and it's entirely up to you. So for the front, what I did is I came in here last night and got out the clear stickles and went over my fireworks on the front and on her bow, and it's kind of hard to see on camera. Can you kind of see where that shines right here? And on the tree and on the wreath, that is my Nouveau Crystal Glaze, and it's just really kind of a fun thing to use, and I did it on the little dots in the center of that firework as well. It's really fun and it gives a really nice element. It's really hard to see on camera. So, but yeah, so matted the front and back. I take it back. I did not mat the back. I just really kind of liked how my ribbon looked on here. So I don't think I'm going to mat the back. I think I'm going to leave it just like it is. Of course, kept the decorating on the front very, very simple, because this is something that's meant to be handled a lot more than one of your normal albums. So in fact, you could make this, not decorate the front, take it as is, you know, I mean, mat everything but not decorate the pages. Take it, go on your Disney trip, get everything signed, and then come back and add in, you know, the little decorative elements after the fact. That would work really well too. So this is just going to tie over here on the end, assuming you're not me who is bow challenged, which is why I don't put bows on things. But I just really like how this looks. So there we have it. There is our book, done and ready to go. Thanks for watching. If you make your own version, by all means, please share it in the Scrapbookers of Country Craft Creations Facebook group. And you can also share it with me on my Facebook page, Scrapping Under the Influence. Bye-bye.